Hey guys, Eckhart Slaughter here with a Star Wars Battlefront 2 leak for you guys today. And I know I've been uploading a lot of leaked content lately. Some of you guys like that, some of you don't. So if you do like it, give this video a like so I know to keep producing more content like this. And if you don't, give it a thumbs down and let me know why. So this is another 4chan leak, and with 4chan you should always be a little bit wary because there's no way to tell who's posting, what their credentials are, etc. But this does seem quite believable, and I'll go through it. I'll talk about what I think could be possible, what I don't think is possible. I'll let you guys make that determination. So the poster says that he works in the sound department for Motive Studios, and Motive Studios is one of the new video game companies that is working on Battlefront 2. And he presents what he claims to be a quick synopsis of the main plot lines following Iden in the new Battlefront game. And he says, I did not review all audio files regarding the main story, and apparently there are levels where you control Luke and Kylo, which I did not see. And that does tie in with what we know, because we have been told that we will be able to control at least Luke within the Battlefront 2 campaign. So they suggest that it starts out on Endor and kind of the beginning of the trailer with Inferno Squad, and that's the main squad that you'll be controlling within the game, helping out some stormtroopers. Then of course the Death Star blows up, they learn of the passing of the Emperor and Darth Vader, and they go on a mission to retrieve the armor and the lightsaber of Darth Vader. And this is interesting to me because we knew that Darth Vader's helmet had to be retrieved in some way because Kylo Ren is seen with it in The Force Awakens, but the lightsaber thing was a bit unsure. We don't know whether he clips it back onto his belt after his battle with Luke, whether it falls down the shaft on the Death Star, what. So it's kind of interesting that this is how it would be retrieved. And it does kind of tie into the theory I talked about last week of Luke perhaps obtaining Darth Vader's lightsaber in some way. After that mission, he suggests that there's a few smaller levels, one where you control a TIE fighter at the end of the Battle of Endor, then there's another where you're on Jakku, and then there's another time skip, and this one is interesting to me, where you play as a character named Corvus, and you control a Raider-class Corvette ship. And the Raider-class Corvette is actually the ship that you can see in the trailer, and it seems to be the personal ship of Inferno Squad. After that, you capture the planet named Vardos with the help of some Imperial forces, and we talked earlier about how Vardos is the home planet of Iden, and this kind of contradicts some of what we've heard before because we heard that Vardos was under peaceful Imperial rule. Perhaps, I guess, it had been captured by the rebels and they're capturing it back. I'm not really sure. But the leaker does say that there's a few fight segments with the locals, and again, that seems to kind of contradict the idea that Vardos is an Imperial-friendly planet. So then you meet with some more Imperial forces, and you and Inferno Squad are assigned to avenging the Emperor, hunting down and killing Luke Skywalker. So this would kind of tie into that scene of the trailer where we see Iden pointing a gun at Luke. You get a new Raider-class Corvette, which you name after Corvus, who, again, was the pilot who died earlier on. And then apparently you actually get to control the Corvette in two different space combat segments. He says one is over Coruscant and one in deep space. And I find this to be a bit surprising. I mean, the largest vehicle we've flown so far is the Millennium Falcon, and that's much smaller than a Corvette. And certainly an X-Wing or an A-Wing is much smaller than a Corvette. So I would be a little surprised to see them jump up to something so large. That being said, the trailer did kind of suggest, based on some of the scenes it showed, that you may be able to fly the ship. So we'll see. So there's 3 missions where you're hunting Luke. One is on Tatooine, one is on Dagobah, and one is on Coruscant. And you play as Inferno Squad, and you're tracking Luke while he's looking for some artifacts. And these artifacts are a book, some holocrons, and the remains of a force tree. So this is really interesting. Holocrons, we don't know whether it will be involved in Episode 8 or not, but we did obviously see a Jedi book in the trailer and what looked like it might have been a force tree. Force trees have also played some role within the new canon up to this point. Iden and Inferno Squad eventually track Luke to Vardos, and he's looking for Darth Vader's lightsaber, so he must think that that's where they left it after the Battle of Endor. Luke is eventually confronted by Iden, who blames him for the killing of hundreds of thousands of people and for plunging the galaxy into another fracturing war. And he acknowledges this, saying, I know, and walks away depressed. And I don't know, this does seem a bit strange to me. I mean, we know that Luke is a bit moody now, and he doesn't want to really confront things, but it just seems like a really weird response to being face-to-face with an Imperial officer. And although there does seem to be kind of some sort of epilogue scene or some sort of ending scene, this does seem like kind of a weird and lame ending. It wouldn't be very satisfying to me if this is how the game ends. But apparently there is one final scene, and it's at the destruction of Starkiller Base, and you're Iden, and this is obviously pretty far in the future, and you're piloting a TIE fighter, killing as many Resistance fighters as you can, but in the end it doesn't matter, because Starkiller Base is destroyed regardless of what you do, and Iden is caught in the blast and killed with the rest of Inferno Squad. I think that this would actually be a kind of decent ending. It's kind of like Halo Reach, where regardless of how good of a pilot you are or how good of a fighter you are, you're just one individual, and the tides of war kind of move without your input, unless you're a Jedi or a Sith Lord, that is. So I do think it would be kind of fitting to see Inferno Squad end this way. I think it would also probably make us feel bad for the Imperials, which obviously that doesn't happen very often. He ends by saying, honestly, the story is pretty short and the pacing is really bad. It felt like its purpose was to give a bit of info about what's happening in between the movies and setting up the newest Star Wars movie. The voice acting and dialogue was actually really well done, though. So this wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there's a whole chunk of time between Episode 6 and Episode 7 that the games are clearly going to explore, and that's what Battlefront 1 did explore. I also wouldn't be surprised if the story was subpar. It just needs to be better than what was in Battlefront 1, which was nothing. So, I mean, I think people will be happy with even just a little bit of story, and the main draw to this game is going to be the multiplayer. There's also the possibility that he seemed to only work on part of the game, so he said he doesn't know what went on with Kylo Ren or Luke, so it's possible that he thinks that the story is short and with weird pacing because he's missing big chunks of it. I don't know, all in all, this isn't the most creative leak, which actually leads me more towards the side of it being true rather than fake. If this is the story we get, I think I'll actually be pretty pleased because there are a few space battles, which is probably top of my list, and it integrates nicely into The Force Awakens in Episode 8, so the storyline would have some real meaning. But I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think that this plot leak is real? Would you like it to be real? And are you excited for Battlefront 2? Let me know all that and more down in the description, and if you feel like pre-ordering the game, I'm going to put an Amazon affiliate link so you can do so and support the channel. It really helps me out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. May the Force be with you.